Good day and welcome, America and beyond. I'm Tom Donahue for Tom Donahue Reports and The Briefing. Well, we're going to continue on with the Epstein files. And because I'm recording this broadcast, this podcast, we're having to go back in time a bit because I have done a more recent podcast that includes these updates. So bear with me. Because I want to make sure that we're not leaving out or jumping ahead, but we'll get to the most current towards the end of this program. So the Supreme Court did reject the appeal from Ghislaine Maxwell, imprisoned co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein. So that's good, but she's still in a cushy, plush, palatial, if you will, in terms of prison experiences and situations. And she's getting preferential treatment, not just because of the transfer, which no other inmate in the history of the Federal Bureau of Prisons has ever allowed a sex trafficker, a convicted sex fiend, someone that is a child sex abuser, to ever go to a facility, camp or otherwise, that is not highly secure. Okay? Took forever to swear in that Democrat that's going to turn the tide that signed the discharge petition. We'll get to that also. Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG representative from Georgia, says she's never felt any more pressure than the Trump administration, the government itself, has leaned on her about this issue, meaning an advocacy for the survivors of the sex abuse trafficking. Even Comer warned Trump against pardoning Epstein's associate, Maxwell. I would strongly discourage it. The tide is turning now that the discharge petition is rolling along and has been activated to the point where the files can and will be released, at least hopefully it's more so than the JFK files, but nevertheless, they're Democrats in large part, some Republicans, but they say the tide is turning where there'll be many more Republicans, maybe an avalanche of Republicans that sign off on the finality of this release. About a month ago or so, there was an article that said House Democrats claim GOP planning a jailbreak revolt against Trump, the Epstein bomb about to drop. Now back to Epstein himself, they said in his cell in New York City, where he was being held, they said it was a scene of disarray that never underwent a thorough inspections, experts said, this according to CBS News. Marjorie Taylor Greene takes swing at the GOP leadership and blasts anyone trying to prevent the Epstein list from coming out. You know, she's become a real hero. There's many other issues we're going to get to that she is truly America first. I thought that maybe she was a bit of a chameleon and her act was a bit of a charade, but the more she stands up to Trump, stands up to the Republican leadership, stands up for principle, in particular America First issues, and human rights issues relates to young girls that were severely abused and sex trafficked. So I'm starting to like this representative. I wasn't a big fan before, but she's more true blue, red, white, and blue than Trump ever has been or could be. Okay? I already talked about how Trump borrowed all the America First themes from people like myself, Chuck Harder, Michael Savage, Ron Paul, Ross Perot, and certainly Pat Buchanan. Little or no credits ever been given to Pat Buchanan for what he did to pave the way. He was really the John the Baptist that paved the way for Trump. You know, I know Ross Perot played to some degree a role, but if there wasn't a Buchanan challenge to the King George Bush, there is no Donald Trump. That's a fact. And if we, the America Firsters and patriot populists that hadn't paved the way in talk radio and beyond, there'd be no Trump administration. There'd be no Trump presidents. Trump lashes out at Epstein revolt. GOP representative from Kentucky, Massey, in Friday night rant. Another hero, another good guy. So Trump wants to go after Massey and Greene, pulls Republican support, have them primaried, have them disgraced and discredited in any and all means possible. Despicable. Now, one of the survivors that sadly committed suicide and all the abuse and all the stuff that just continued to affect her psyche, to affect her mental state, it just became too overwhelming at some point, and she was it was unbearable to continue living. So thanks Epstein, thanks Trump, thanks to these people that caused her this distress. But anyway, in this memoir that has been released, she said that she recalls horrific details, waking up in a pool of blood and secretive surgeries that were done on her. Wow. And there was just appalling abuse that was recounted in this memoir. She said that she thought she might die a sex slave at the hands of Epstein and his circle, the memoir reveals. Now, closer to the current day, there have been shocking emails showing that Epstein telling Ghislaine Maxwell that Trump and an alleged victim spent hours together at his house in Florida. Convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein co-conspirator, raves in prison in emails about the comfort of her new camp. Epstein alleged in emails that Trump knew of his conduct. New York Times. So the New York Times, Mediaite, The Hill, BBC, and the Telegraph, so I'm relying on a lot of different news accounts, not just a single source. Now, Caroline Leavitt, one of the Barbies of the Trump administration, lashes out at Democrats trying to embarrass Trump with Epstein emails. Fake narrative. Fake. These are emails. This is legitimate documentation. Trump said he was a terrific guy. They were best of friends for at minimum a decade. Some say maybe as many as 15 years. Now, one of the startling things that has come to light, and Michael Wolff is not always the most reliable author, but he's not the only one that has said this, that Epstein would take Polaroid pictures back in the day. And when Trump did visit, there were pictures taken of him, this is alleged, of scantily clad young girls hanging out with him near the pool. And that, of course, one or more were sitting on his lap. And when the girls got off his lap, they noticed a stain that they all pointed to and were staring at. And Epstein allegedly took a photo of that. And then he used those photos, he had them in the safe, and he showed it to this author, he showed it to others, and said, "See what I've got on Trump? Hee hee ha ha." Now, if those photographs exist, now Pam Bondi, under congressional testimony, was asked about this, and she did not answer. She just looked down. She would not answer yes or no if these photos exist. A little suspicious, right? I mean, if Trump is completely innocent, it did nothing at all except just was a friend to Epstein, then the answer should be absolutely not. There's no photo evidence of this. We've not seen anything of the kind. Epstein alleges Trump knew about the girls in emails released by the House Democrats. Epstein email says Trump knew about the girls, but the White House says the release is a Democrat smear. So everything's fake and a smear, and it doesn't happen. It didn't happen. Doesn't exist. You deserve the full truth. The House GOP suddenly drops 20,000 pages of Epstein documents on the heels of the Trump bombshell. The internet goes ballistic over bombshell Epstein emails about Trump and the girls. A 4-year-old tweet on social media comes back to haunt J.D. Vance after new Trump-Epstein revelations. Remember, Kash Patel, J.D. Vance, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, Trump himself, all said that, when he was out of office at the time, that there was a cover-up and that there is a client list and that these people need to be prosecuted. This needs to be exposed. And now they're in power and it's all a hoax. It's all a Democrat smear. It's all fake news. Man, I hope Dan Bongino never gets back on radio, because if he had one iota, a modicum of courage, he would fight this. He would expose this. He would have resigned. He would have gotten back on the air, even if he had to do like podcasts and YouTube and Rumble and whatever. But instead, he's sticking right by Trump. He's still there. Even though he had falling outs, and he said it's worse than you could imagine, but he's still there. And you can say, well, maybe he's going to do some good work. Yeah, right. Yeah, he's going to take the lead, take charge. Sure. The DOJ admits to Republicans that the Epstein files are even worse for Trump than previously thought. But I am glad that the GOP decided, beyond what the Democrats released, to release a lot of these documents. You know, a lot of these documents are coming from the Epstein estate. That besides all the audio, the video, the court testimony, you know, the various investigations over the years, the prosecution, the sentencing, etc. Here's a quote for you. "I know how dirty Don is. Stunning, candid Epstein email about Trump gets released by the Republicans even." Yeah. Trump is seething over the latest wild turn in the quote unquote Epstein hoax in fiery posts. He's got something to stay up late at night and post about, but he will not answer any questions. He's been a guy who loves to talk to the media, who loves to do press conferences, that loves to take questions from reporters. Pretty much dead silent. Yeah. Silence sometimes speaks volumes. Now could be the time. Epstein was told he could finish Trump with dirt on the eve of the 2016 election. So he was looking at that possibility, but he also was looking at the possibility that Trump could intervene and he could use these things to keep him out of prison if Trump were elected. So he hedged in not fully revealing these things before the 2016 election. Trump cabinet reaches out to Boebert and Mace ahead of the Epstein discharge petition deadline. Yeah, they were putting pressure on them to change their signature to stop the release of these files. I'm telling you, if Biden or Obama did this, there would be like just all the conservatives would be just in uproarious outrage. I mean, they would be just, it would almost be a complete rebellion. That's all you would hear. Fox News is almost dead silent on this. But if it was Biden or Obama or Clinton, over and over and over again, it's not happening. Trump warns the GOP against engaging with Democrats in the Epstein hoax trap. Huh? You're trapped. You're in a bear trap, and you're not getting out. Epstein claims he gave Trump his ex-girlfriend in bombshell email dump. Top Trump officials huddling at the White House ahead of potential House vote on Epstein files. That's the vote that goes beyond the discharge petition after the Democrat got sworn into office that should have been sworn in two months ago or so. Now here's Thomas Massie, a patriot and a tremendous congressman, Republican from Kentucky, says, "You covered up for a pedophile," and warns GOP colleagues against opposing Epstein files release. House Republicans scramble as Epstein files petition hits magic number. They're now voting in favor. As I mentioned earlier, another headline here, Trump refuses to take questions as reporter asks, "Can you respond to these Epstein emails?" Dead silence. How the DOJ tried and failed to bury Trump's Epstein files. Collins from CNN calls out Trump allies blocking out Epstein after years talking about it. Trump faces Republican rebellion yet over Epstein. Latest Epstein files knock White House on its heels. The Epstein furor takes over in the House. From terrific guy to Democrat hoax, a timeline of Trump's long, shifting story about Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein wrote a disturbing email to himself, to keep on file, before his suicide. He said, "Trump knew," quote unquote. Epstein was preoccupied with Trump. Ace Epstein reporter marvels that Trump's name comes up over 2,000 times in the documents. Trump faces heat from MAGA base on America First agenda, Epstein files. Trump threatens to sic the DOJ on Bill Clinton and Larry Summers over the Epstein hoax. Well, if it's a hoax, then why are you wanting to have your DOJ be ordered to go after the Democrats in the Epstein files? Complete contradiction that makes no sense. Trump rages at the soft and foolish Republicans falling for the Democrats' Epstein hoax. Marjorie Taylor Greene hits back at Trump saying, "Only stupid Republicans care about Epstein." Marjorie Taylor Greene posts, Epstein text message to Trump that sent him over the edge. Trump floats bonkers theory. They added these things to the Epstein files after the election. Huh? Crazy. He's a maniac. He's insane. Out of his mind. Trump says some of the dumber Republicans want the Epstein files released. What's that got to do with intelligence? And the fact is that you and all your colleagues wanted these released at one time. But, oh, that's right. Your name appears over and over and over and over again. And maybe that's a part of the problem for you. Right, Donnie? Right, Donald? Dastardly Don. You're in a trap here. It's not a trap set by Democrats or Republicans or those that favor the release of the files. You put yourself there, and you spoke about conspiracy theories and that you wanted this uncovered, revealed, released, and now not so much. It's just a hoax. But if it is a hoax, we'll just go after Democrats only. Yeah, right. That's it for now. That brings us up to speed. I'm going to continue on this path, this warpath, and not relent in any way, shape, or form. Justice must prevail. Truth must override the fake and the phony and the hoax schemes and scams of this king in the making, Donald Trump, tyrant Trump. Till we meet again, I'm Tom Donahue for Tom Donahue Reports. Have a great day.